What's going on, everybody? Today I want to go over how I was able to get over 5,000 downloads on my drum and sample packs without any background in music, without having any knowledge of marketing, or without spending any money on ads or promotion or things like that. So in this video, I'm going to tell you guys some tips and tricks that I use to overcome those obstacles, and hopefully it'll help you overcome them too. So again, the first one being that I didn't know anything about music. So this would be how to learn how to play drums, how to learn how to play keys, piano, whatever it is in your case. For me in particular, it was making drum packs. The second thing, which is having no background in marketing or promotion or knowing anything about social media in general. I didn't even have a social media account that my friends or people like that could follow me. Even now on my music media account, I have 0 of my family following me and only a few of my friends that really even know about it. I don't really tell them. It's all just organic following that I was created and fans that I've created. And then the last thing being how to take those people from my social media to my actual website to get them to download a sample pack and or purchase a sample pack for myself without spending any money or without paying people for promotion and things like that. So again, hopefully you'll be able to use some of these tips that I've come up with and some of the little techniques that I've used along the way to grow your audience and start your music career. So the first thing is that I'd have 0 background in music and that none of my parents or anybody in my family has ever played music or really been acquainted with music. It's not like I grew up listening to music around the house. Honestly, it was just a lot of like TV, if anything, or mostly I was playing outside, so I wasn't really listening to music. Over time, as I got older and was in more or less high school and college, I started really digging into music a lot more and actually starting to enjoy listening. And my senior year of college is when I finally went and purchased a machine and started actually producing music myself. And what kind of urged me to do that is an entire different story. But the thing that I want to get to is how I was able to start producing sample packs without having any background, and how from that start of buying that machine, I was able to go from that 0 point to a 1, which was releasing my first sample pack. So a couple of things that I did was first, watched a lot of tutorials and didn't just watch the tutorials, but made sure I actually applied them. So I see way too many people just watching tutorial after tutorial after tutorial. And it's not that tutorials are bad, but a lot of times you get stuck in this rabbit hole of watching tutorials or watching the next shiny object because it has a cool title. And instead of doing that, you should be either watching a tutorial and executing, and or just continuously executing and finding a feedback loop, or putting out music to an audience, which I'll get to be able to create a feedback loop from them. So this way you'll start learning what things are good and what things are bad of what you're creating. So also, as I was saying, I started listening to a lot of music as well. This goes back to, again, high school and college, but I really got more into depth on the production side of the music I was listening to, and learned more about the drums and learned more about the arrangements that they were using, the different instruments that were going into it, literally taking notes on it and figuring out this is exactly the instruments that they used at this part of the song in the intro. What did they use during the chorus? What did they use during the bridge? And starting to figure out this is how to arrange music. This is how to make certain drum patterns. You can also start filling up folders or starting to make playlists on Spotify or Apple with drum sounds that you like from songs, so that you can go back and listen to them and then try to recreate them yourself, or a pattern or a melody or a piano or whatever it happens to be that you're playing. By listening to a lot of music and making sure that I was actually applying the tutorials that I was making, I started becoming a lot more consistent with creating music and making sure that I was reinforcing the habit of finishing my tracks and or finishing the sample packs that I was trying to make and drum sounds that I was trying to create. By doing this over and over and over again and practicing, I finally became confident enough to release my music on social media platforms and start releasing things to see what people talked about, which is what I'm about to get into. So the second thing is that I had 0 marketing background and 0 promotional background and or knowledge about social media and how to kind of make content and do things like that. I learned all these things, again, by watching tutorials and then going and applying them. But this one is a little bit different, and this is where I can give a little more advice on how you can go about it. Make sure that you're making posts and then getting feedback from your audience on what's good and what's bad. Don't just keep posting the same content if it's not working. Try out different pieces of content. The algorithms aren't going to punish you if you don't post. The algorithm isn't going to punish you for posting more content. The algorithm's only going to punish you. The algorithm isn't going to punish you for posting more content. So just keep posting until you figure out what content sticks with your audience and what they enjoy, so that you can continuously make that content. And then you will build up more followers, which you can then turn into fans, which I'll talk about in the third step, and people that actually want to use whatever you're putting out and or listen to your music. By learning how to create engaging content for yourself, whether that be for me on Instagram, learning how to make reels, learning how to make, before it was just posts and carousels, learning how to actually write things in the captions below to make people write comments that you can start a conversation with, on things like YouTube, which is where this is going to go up, starting to learn how to actually write out ideas to make sure that the videos hopefully sound a lot better now than they did before, and doing all these little things with the content to figure out how I can make the experience better for the audience. What are things that I can do to market to the audience in a way that it can be, again, this Walt Disney experience is all that I can think about. So an example of this is, recently I ran a challenge, and what I wanted to do with the challenge was make sure that everybody who entered at least got something when they walked away. Even if they didn't come in first, second, or third, they still got a prize. And not only did they just get that one thing, they got a few different little things. And the whole point of it was, from the beginning to the end of their experience in the drum challenge, I'm hoping that they really enjoyed it, so that next time when I host another drum challenge, they'll want to come back because of, again, this Walt Disney experience that they've had. So the second part of the social media stuff that I want to talk about is that I'm super introverted, and even now I still am. My family always introduces me as the quiet one, and even when I'm around friends, especially if we're in big groups, I usually don't say a lot, partially because I'm just observing and thinking about stuff, but it's really because I don't have a lot of input. I don't really like to talk a lot in that way. And for that same sense, it's hard for me to get on camera and really express my thoughts in the right way. So by creating content, it helped me not only to start figuring out how to express ideas properly, but how to actually write out and make sure that I was putting things down that people wanted to listen to, again, by listening to the audience, going back to what I was saying before. So the one thing I want to say about, again, being introverted in this case, which I still consider myself, was creating a lot of music and practicing a lot from the first steps led me to be, again, confident enough to start putting out music and not feeling like I was some sort of imposter in the music industry. Not like I was trying to play up like, oh, I'm somebody in the industry or anything like that. I was literally just a kid who's in his bedroom, as you can see, making music. And that's all that I'm being, and I'm not trying to be anybody else than that. And again, by making sure that you're just playing the role that you're already in and telling the stories that you already have, which is, again, what I'm trying to do here. And one of my favorite quotes is from Naval Ravikant, which is, the best way to beat competition is through authenticity, because no one can be you better than you. So this is going to lead me to my third point, which is that I used zero paid methods to get those 5,000 downloads and technically 12,000 followers on Instagram. I never ran an ad. I never ran any sort of paid promotion or paid people to put me up on their Instagram feeds and things like that. It was all, again, organic and things that I actually communicated to the audience in ways that I was actually able to present information. In my opinion, a lot of the paid ads for people that are just starting off is really misleading information. Unless you have a lot of capital to expend, or you have a lot of assets behind you that you're trying to get out to the world that you know is going to eventually bring you back money on the back end somehow, then in my opinion, it's not worth trying to run ads at the beginning. There's a lot of other ways that you can get people to listen to your music, to get on playlists, to get people to download your sample packs or drum packs in my case, or for people to purchase your beats, whatever the heck it happens to be for you. There's a lot of ways that you can go about getting people to use what you have or listen to the thing that you're trying to put forward that don't involve you paying for it. So my rule of thumb for this is only pay for things for as much money as you've already made from those things. So for example, in music, if I've made roughly $10,000 with my drum and sample packs, that means that I can spend about $10,000 acquiring different equipment for my drums, acquiring different microphones, investing in ads, as I was just talking about, investing in other assets that will ideally aid me in either getting more people to use those drums or making my drum sounds better. So again, to me, promotion at the beginning phases isn't really worth it. And a quick example I want to give on the ads and promotion in general is that there are companies like Tesla, or there are companies like Costco, or companies like Tupperware, which is really Corning Glass, or all these other places that literally do zero advertising for their product, or Sriracha is another good one. These things that are used all the time, and you've never seen an ad for them. There's no billboards out there for companies like Rolls-Royce. People don't buy like that all the time. And you need to know your market and know whether you need to run ads or whether you don't need to run ads. So keep that in mind next time you're thinking about paying for ads. Again, use this rule of thumb that I went over earlier. If you haven't made that much money from the thing that you're about to spend the money on, don't pay for it. So the last little tidbit I want to add on that topic is actual tangible ways of outreach on things like social media, going back to that second tip. And it's just to, again, leave genuine comments, leave genuine advice on forums, give people genuine feedback, make videos such as the one that I'm making now that hopefully will give you guys some value. You can tell me in the comments below if this was helpful for you at all or not. But try to make things that really make people in the audience connect with you. Run things like, for example, on my case, it was running a drum challenge, which really kicked off my start to Instagram in particular, and understanding the platform, and then understanding how to acquire people to use my sample packs, and then hearing them using my sample packs and getting really inspired by all the people creating with it and wanting to create even more. So again, use this feedback cycle to get better at making music, because you start wanting to produce it more, and you will start producing it more, becoming more consistent, making it daily, and reinforcing the habit. Second, you will start to make more content on social media using the music that you're making more of. And then by using more content on social media, you can organically reach out to people without having to pay them to become a promotion for you. And you can get people to download your music or download your album, download your sample pack, purchase your beats, whatever it happens to be for yourself. There are many different ways of customer acquisition. So hopefully these 3 tips helped. And the one thing I want to say is this 5,000 downloads didn't come overnight. It took me over a year to get, and it took me a lot of time and a lot of grinding, a lot of hand-to-hand combat. It's not like I was just sitting here playing drums the whole time. There was marketing involved. There was promotion involved, in terms of not paid promotion, but in terms of putting work in to make sure I'm engaging with the community, engaging with the right people in the community, so that we can make proper connections with each other. So these are just a couple things that I wanted to point out, and a couple things that will hopefully help you on your journey to get to 5,000 downloads, hopefully further than that. And that's kind of what I'm shooting for. And you'll join the journey with me if you want, and subscribe and like this video and do all that good stuff that everybody usually tells you to do. But again, hopefully you found this helpful. And until next time, peace.